Welcome to your workout. Today we'll focus on hinging. We'll start with 2 breathing-based exercises, then go into our active warm-up, and then I'll go through each circuit 1 time. As always, you can pause me whenever, and you can repeat the circuit because the notes will be below on the exercises and rep counts. We'll first start with a sucker punch breathing drill. So you'll want to grab a Pilates ball, a pillow, just something that you can roll up. The idea that we're going to compress one side of our body or one side of these lower ribs so that we can expand and breathe into the back side on the exact opposite. So if I have this ball on the front side of the left, I can breathe into the back of my left rib cage. We're going to do 5 to 10 breaths on each side. And I just want you to tune in to how that feels different side to side. So a couple options here as you're setting up in this sucker punch. And it kind of is called a sucker punch because it looks like you're being, punched in the stomach, so to speak. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it underneath my left lower ribs, right where those ribs kind of flare. You want it kind of blocking off that space. I can grab a yoga block if I need that for my head for support. And I'm going to kind of come into this crouched position, take my butt towards my heel. If you cannot bring your butt towards your heels, you can put a foam pad or something underneath there for a little bit more support. Here, I'm just going to kind of I can rest my head on the yoga block just in an effort to keep my neck muscles relaxed. But I want to make sure that I'm not reaching back because I want to keep my airway open. And in this position, take my palms up or down, whatever feels comfortable to you. Thinking about inhales into the back body through the nose. And exhales out the mouth. As you exhale, envisioning yourself kind of melting over the ball. So inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Trying to envision that air going behind the left shoulder blade. And then allowing your body to melt and exhale and fully empty that air out of your mouth. Inhales are slow and controlled. Versus, we don't want to be kind of like pulling air in. We want to just allow that airflow to come into the lungs. And then exhale, let it go. And we'll switch sides. This is important for, being able to reach our arms overhead and just addressing things like diastasis, prolapse symptoms. If you do have prolapse symptoms and this is a little bit too much, you can actually come into more of an inverted position. So please message me if you need some support with that. So inhaling through the nose, this is under the right now. And exhale, let it go. Gazes forward, like aligned with my watch line. And maybe one side it feels easier to get air on than the other. Turn so you can see me. Remember, you're doing about 5 to 10 breaths per side. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. So we're trying to gain some space, some posterior expansion. Breathing into the back body. I'll talk a little bit more about why this is important at the end of class. Do this last breath together. And exhale out the mouth. I'm going to grab my thin yoga block. You can also use a textbook here. And we're going to go into a little bit of a bear hip shift. So I'll show you a couple different angles. I'm going to take my left knee and place it on the block. You don't want this to be a full yoga block because it's probably a little bit too high. I'm going to allow my right knee to think about shifting long. The important thing here is that I'm actually over my left side and I'm watching that this left side isn't hiking to the side. So I'm going to think about right leg long, unhike this left hip, tuck my toes, and I'm just going to think about adding a rock back in this position. So we're kind of just stretching the back of these glutes. As I go back, this is why we worked on some of that posterior expansion. I want you to imagine these ribs are back so that as you go back, you don't flare and kind of arch through this midpoint in your back. Exhale these ribs back, toes are tucked. So these ribs are back.
And I'm thinking about that glute just staying nice and long as I open up. Notice that I'm getting a stretch through this butt cheek, and I want to round through my low back. And I'm almost thinking if I had a tail, my tail was lifted with my ribs back as I inhale back, and then exhale, come forward. So this is your rock back position. Push through your hands, inhale, rock back. Exhale, come forward. Right about 90 degrees with the bend at the hips. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, come forward. So you should be experiencing or feeling a nice stretch in the back of the glute. We're gonna do some hinging, so this should feel good. And just getting our body used to that sensation of lengthening through the backside. Now I'm gonna set up on my right side, exhale. And then exhale, kind of with that pelvic floor lift at that 90-degree position. Right knee on yoga block. I'm gonna think about pushing through the yoga block with my right knee, watching that hiking onto the sides, and then unhike, push through. Let this left knee drop long, tuck the toes, and that's that same thing. I'm gonna think about inhale, rocking back. My butt's kind of growing towards the camera. Exhale, come forward. You want to think about staying nice and long from rib cage to pelvis on this right side. You're not hiking. So just thinking about 5 rock backs in this position. And then we're getting right to our active warm up. Inhale as you come back. And then exhale as you come to that kind of 90-degree bend. Pelvic floor lifts. Inhale, pelvic floor lengthens. Exhale, lift. And we're just doing rock back, so think about a 2 out of 10 effort here. Exhale, come through. Awesome job. So for your warm up, we're gonna think about setting ourselves up next to a wall. I like to place just something underneath my head and my neck, so I have a little bit of support. I'm going into that single leg hamstring isometric. So I'm gonna set up with my back on the ground, and I'm gonna place my right foot on the wall, kind of in more of a longer lever. So thinking about being, this knee is not bent at 90, but more like 120. So we're gonna go into a single leg isometric. So in this position, I'm imagining I'm dragging my heels down the wall, kind of tucking my pelvis underneath me, and I'm gonna come up into this single leg kind of isometric. I'm just holding this position. My glutes are not clenched. I am going to feel them, but I don't want to squeeze and thrust forward. I want to really drag down with the heels. And I'm going to reach up with my opposite hand, or I can take both. Whatever feels good. Sometimes I like to just reach with the opposite hand. We're going to do 5 breaths in this position. If the single leg is too much, you can do double legs, just holding and breathing in this long lever isometric. So I'm going to show you from the left so you can have a better view, but I have that slightly bent 120 degrees, thinking about my pelvis underneath me, pulling down, connecting with the feet, and we're just doing 5 breaths per side. You've probably already gotten in a couple breaths. As you exhale, envisioning the ribs kind of melting towards the ground below you. On this left side, thinking about connecting with that left outside heel, watching that this knee doesn't jut out to the side. Just play around with where you feel that on the foot. Once you hit 5 breaths, make sure you do the other side. This is just that isometric. And then eventually we'll get into more like bridgey type movements in this single leg position. Thinking about where we're going, we're going to get that same small block we used for the next exercise. After 5 breaths, I'm grabbing my small block. I can move this guy out of the way. And I'm going to go into an offset bear. So placing my hand on the block, I realize I skipped something. So we're going to come back to that bridge. In this breathing position, I'm in this offset. So as I take 3 breaths, I'm really breathing into the backside of my right rib cage. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. So from the side, I'm in this kind of offset position, dragging my toes up the wall. Inhale. exhale. Couple things we want to watch for, just do 3 breaths, dragging the toes up the wall to keep my pelvis underneath me. Watch I don't lock out the elbow. So keep the elbow soft, but push through the index finger and thumb. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to add the rotation. I reach my left arm through. Keep that push through the hand. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reach through. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reach through. Exhale, back to center. You should feel a lot of the shoulders working, these side abdominals working. Inhale. Exhale. Other side, we're coming through. Inhale, last one. Exhale, back to center. All right, switching sides, maybe shake it out. So you're working a muscle called the serratus, key for doing those push-ups. So 3 breaths here. Inhale. Remember watching that lock out through the elbow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keeping contact through index finger and thumb. Last breath, inhale. Exhale. Now I'm gonna do my 5 reaches. Inhale, still pushing away. Exhale, back to center. Drag the feet up the wall, that's gonna help you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So you're gonna feel these side abdominals working with those shoulder muscles as you do the rotation. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Woo. All right, we're gonna get up on our feet and do a little wall walk hinge, and then we're gonna go into a standing co-contraction hinge. So we're gonna incorporate that co-contraction standing instead. So with this wall walk, I'm essentially thinking about getting into a hinge position and opening and lengthening through the boot. You're gonna do this in your strength work. My hands are straight in front of me, and I'm gonna think about my knees are soft over my shoelaces. And I'm literally just gonna think about walking down the wall with my hands. I'm getting a nice lat stretch. My booty is lengthening behind me. Gaze is forward. And I'm gonna breathe in this position. I'll come move the camera so you can see a different angle. Knees are soft, weight is over the middle of my feet. And I'm inhaling and exhaling in this position. So what's key is we wanna make sure we're not flaring through our rib cage as we do this. So walking my hands down the wall, knees over the midfoot, and I'm inhaling, exhale. Keeping those ribs back, getting a nice lat stretch. Watching not overly tucking and flexing through my low back, but I'm keeping my tail lifted while the ribs stay back. Getting a nice breath, thinking about breathing into your lat muscles. One more breath. And exhale, let it go. Last little 2-parters of our warm-up. Seems like a lot, but we're getting in some good movement as we're gonna go into a standing co-contraction hinge. You can hold on to something for support here, but what we wanna practice is taking the different co-contractions we've been working on and making it into standing. So with my holding on to this doorknob, I'm gonna elevate my right heel just a tiny bit. I want you to think about spreading your toes far apart so you can feel some nice connection to the arch. Heel is slightly lifted, and I'm gonna go into that hinge position. So yes, my heel is lifted, my hands reach towards the ground or holding onto something. I'm hinging my body down, and then I'm pushing through my foot to stand back up. This is pretty spicy, feeling a lot of glute and hamstring. So my right heel is actually lifted like an inch off the ground, not a lot. And I'm gonna reach down, think about sending this butt cheek back till I feel a nice stretch, and then I push through my forefoot to stand up. Recommend holding on to something for support here. We're gonna just do 4 total, so it's pretty spicy. So coming down, and then as I come up, I push through my forefoot. You don't wanna lose and roll off on your foot. So think about all those toes spreading, and make sure you come up to stand. Last one, those toes spreading, it's called your transverse arch. Inhale, and then exhale, I push through the floor. You should be feeling a lot of glute, a lot of hamstring as you come up to stand. We're gonna switch sides, 4 on this side. Heel slightly lifted, thinking about hinging down, keeping these ribs and pelvis in a good position, and then push through the forefoot to stand tall. My head is a little chopped off. Last couple. 3 more. Two more. We're kind of warming up for our hinge and practicing something called a co-contraction, which is super, super helpful. Thinking about knee health, ankle health. And then come up to stand. Shake it out. Last little thing, if you want to skip over this, you totally can. It's a little more advanced. But thinking about our pelvic floor and going into something called a drop catch. So we want to think about a responsive pelvic floor. You can also use a slider here if you find that helpful. Setting up in my lunge position, right foot is forward. All I'm going to think about doing is if I brought something with my hands in place. So inhale, exhale, catch. Inhale, exhale, catch. Okay, if you dropped a baby, exhale, catch the baby. Inhale, exhale, pelvic floor lifts. Inhale, exhale, pelvic floor lifts. You don't necessarily need the slider. 3 more on this side. Exhale, catch. 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 And then we'll push to the other side. So these are those yielding split lunges. Trying to think about it like a drop catch, which we practice in a squat position. With your knee, envision that knee over the middle of your foot. So we want this knee to have the ability to flex. Just 3 more. Awesome job, shake it out. Grab your foam roller for our next main circuit. I'm gonna go grab mine, I forgot to bring it over. And you have the option to do this with a weight, or you can do it without weight, which will be challenging enough. We're gonna go into a hinge, and then you want weights for a bicep curl and for a chest press. So setting up with my hinge for the foam roller. So this is my left leg. I'm gonna press my leg, my inner thigh into this foam roller. My right leg, my foot is kickstand. So I want to set myself up so my knee is directly over the center of my foot, my shoelaces. Let's practice this body weight, and then I'll show you if you had a dumbbell what that would look like. So in this position, I'm pushing my inner thigh into the wall, into the foam roller to keep it steady. And I'm gonna just practice doing that hinge position. My left butt cheek is growing into my hand, and then I push through my shoelaces to stand up. So keep going, you're gonna aim for about 8. It's pretty steamy and spicy. If you had a dumbbell, you can place that in the right hand. Kind of have to go around the foam roller a little bit. You can keep that right foot grounded, you can take it up, we're working that left side. So this is 5. And from the side, wanting to think, keep going until you hit your 8, thinking about this booty cheek, lengthening, and you go to about there. If you go lower, then that's when we round. So only going to about there, and then push through the shoelaces to stand while you're holding that foam roller in place. So we're gonna hit the other side. You're gonna see a butt view, but hopefully this gives you a different view. So I'm giving my right foot is forward, right inner thigh is holding, and here I go into that kickstand hinge. So sending this right butt cheek back, and then I come to stand. If I lose the foam roller, it's gonna drop. So I need to kind of push in and stand tall. You can elevate the back foot. It's a little bit more advanced. But you think about all that work coming from this right butt cheek. Gaze stays forward so we can keep the chest open. Really push into that foam roller. Going for 8 reps. After this, we're going to be on the floor into a chest press variation. So you can grab 2 weights, and then we'll be on the wall for bicep curls. Thinking this is 8, and then come through to stand. Feel a lot of glute, some inner thigh with that variation, but it's helping to keep us in a good position and promote some nice internal rotation. So I'm grabbing my mat, 2 dumbbells. I'm going to go into a chest press. We need 2 weights here. If you do not have weights, you can grab wine bottles, anything you have that can create some sort of like additional weight. Setting up on the ground, on my back, I have my 2 weights in hand. I'm going to do this with a little bit of difference in the breath. So as I come down, my feet are grounded. I can feel the tag of my pants connected to the ground. Inhale as my elbows hover. Breathing into the chest. Exhale, reach like I'm punching the ceiling. Inhale here. Breathe behind the shoulder blades. Exhale, come down. Inhale into my chest. Exhale, press. Inhale. Exhale, lower. So multiple breaths in this, but you're getting expansion into the chest. Exhale. Into the back. Exhale. Into the chest. Exhale. So going for about 8 to 10 reps, depending on your weight. Getting the idea, inhale here. Exhale, lower. Elbows hover. And as you come down, watch me go flare through the ribs. So keep rooted through the feet and connect through the lower part of your back without clenching the glutes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So you do 2 more together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome job. Careful getting it up. Then we're going to go right into some wall bicep curls. So I love this just for creating some awareness around the position. So I'm set up against the wall, thinking about my lower ribs, like my sports bra connected to the wall. I'm in like a little bit of a wall sit position, finding the tag of my pants connected to the wall behind me as well as those lower ribs. And you have the option to alternate. We've done bicep curls before, so maybe now you go a little bit heavier. So you can do both. Inhale as you curl, exhale, lower. Inhale, curl, exhale, lower. If you prefer the alternation, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going for 10 reps. If you're alternating, you can aim for 8 to 10 per side, so that's 16 to 20 total. Inhale, lower, exhale, or inhale, curl, exhale, lower. As you do this, watching that your shoulders aren't rounding forward. So inhale, breathing into the chest, exhale, lower, inhale, exhale, lower. Placing yourself against the wall just gives you a good reference point so that as you curl, you don't flare through the ribs. Inhale and exhale. Probably about a couple more. Going for about 10 or 8 to 10 per side. And exhale. We do want to have strong biceps. We got to hold heavy stuff as moms or as human beings. So we're going to go into, this is a good time to grab a sip of water, catch a break. We're going to go into a split squat with rotation, and then we're going to go into a row and a dead bug variation. So you'll want a dumbbell handy that you can row with. The split squat can be weighted or you can do body weight. I will show both. So we love to get in some rotation that feels good for the rib cage standpoint, as well as the pelvis. So let's step back. I have a dumbbell that I'll show both variations. If my left foot is forward, my right foot is back. Thinking about split squat as I reach. Inhale down, exhale up. As I come down, thinking about my belt buckle, turning towards my left inner thigh, and then opening away. So I am getting that little bit of rotation at the pelvis. Inhale down, exhale, turn away. If you want to load this up, you can hold it in a couple different ways. So let's say goblet style. And inhale as I kind of rotate, exhale, turn away. Or you can just do single arm. Inhale and exhale. From the side, aim for about 8 per side, so I'm gonna switch legs. Knee forward over the midfoot. Think of your front leg as doing the work. I'm gonna switch side. So right foot forward, you're adding that rotation. So we don't want this knee to bend first and kind of overextend. We want that knee to go soft and forward, so this knee flexes. So I can rotate over and come and turn up. 8 per side. If your knee is like me and kind of goes like this, I want you to think about aiming that knee towards like the third toe. You're gonna get more glute. And get those abductors. Think about how you're getting that nice rotation at the rib cage. Couple more. Now we're heading to a wall row, so we're gonna go back to the wall. So it's gonna kind of mimic that exercise we did at the very beginning with the wall walk. So I'm setting up, I'm show you, need some water. 2 options. So you're gonna be in this kind of bent over position. So this is option A. Dragging down with that opposite hand, inhale, exhale. 10 rows per side. Inhale, think of elbow towards hip as you row. Other option, if you want, is in this case, take the right foot forward, left foot back. You're kind of more in this staggered stance position. Okay, with that hand on the wall. Or you can be in that bilateral, so 2 feet. Okay, so I'm doing 10 per side, I'm just gonna switch. As you do this is that staggered position, would be left foot forward if your dumbbell's on the right, dragging the hand down. Think about elbow towards hip and watching that this knee doesn't cave in. So keep it pointing towards that third toe. Hands dragging down the wall on the left side. Woo. Okay. So last exercise, you're gonna want to grab a red band. If you don't have red band, you can just use a towel. I'm gonna be in a dead bug variation with a band pull. So laying on my back. Reaching my band up towards the ceiling. This is a newer band, so it's got a lot of tension, so I don't necessarily need to double up. And the inhale, reach. Just breathe into back, exhale. As I bring my legs to tabletop. If you automatically, when you go to tabletop, kind of dump into that anterior tilt and have trouble connecting with the ground, keep one foot on the ground. That's just going to help you find a better position. And over time, you can progress to being in that tabletop position. So with this, I'm going to use this band for some tension from that tabletop. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull the band apart as I extend the leg. Or inhale, exhale, march a leg. Okay, so you don't need a ton of tension. And you don't need a huge pull apart. It's just for a little bit of core engagement. And in this position, you want to feel those low abs. If you're not feeling those low abs, we want to regress it a little bit. Inhale, exhale. Imagine that exhale coming from the bottom up as you tap or extend. So I'm just gonna do a few reps with the breath so you can hear it. So I want to start my exhale, get that connection, and then tap. Inhale. So that pull is just creating a little bit more tension. Aim for about 5 to 6 per side. I'm probably about there. Doing my last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Just a tiny bit of extra tension as I extend. Woo. I'm gonna grab a yoga block or the small yoga block you've been using or textbook. I'm gonna place it underneath my pelvis just to unweight myself a little bit. And I'm just gonna take 5 to 10 breaths here, inhaling and exhale. So keep going with that breath. Couple things I had mentioned through class is posterior expansion, so being able to breathe into the back body so that we can exhale those lower ribs back, so that we're not in that flared position. It's going to help us reach our arms overhead and be able to get a more stacked position in something like a squat. Also key, we worked on opening the glutes, lengthening different hinge variations, and also a standing co-contraction. So these are all really great for joint health, knees, ankles, and learning to hinge so we can bend over without low back pain. Our pelvic floor also allows when we can hinge well and lengthen the glutes and strengthen them in a lengthened position. If you have any questions on the workout, I'll have all the notes below, and I'm happy to chat. Post your videos in the Facebook group anytime.